Hey friends, welcome to today's video. I'm super excited to be sharing my favorite picks for Scorpio season. Now I know at first glance some of these are very on the nose and some might be unexpected, but hopefully after you hear my reasons for picking these shades, you'll see exactly where I'm coming from with them. I'm also really excited to share some input and even ratings for these polishes provided by my partner Ryan. He has 5 Scorpio placements in his chart, so yeah, he's definitely qualified to do so. So without further ado, let's get into the swatches. The first polish I'm sharing is ILNP Amber, and this came out in their Golden Hour collection back in August, which I'll link in the cards if you want to watch my actual review of it. But this is basically a glowing amber magnetic jelly. So if you couldn't guess, I mainly picked this shade to represent citrine, which is one of November's birthstones. The other is topaz, and it's usually the blue topaz, but yellow topaz exists, so I feel like this could also work for that. And I have some pictures at the end so you can see just how accurate this polish is for those birthstones. But anyway, I know this might not be a traditional Scorpio color, but I think it's a great option for those who aren't super into dark shades. And of course, I had to include a birthstone polish. I feel like you really liked that last month with Libra season and doing opals. So hopefully this polish does some justice to the November birthstones. And if you are a Scorpio, let me know how you like this shade. So here's a little clip in the sun so you can see how that compares. But as far as Ryan's thoughts, his first impression was that it doesn't exude Scorpio, but it still is nice and definitely a great shade for November. Overall, he would rate this a 7 out of 10. The next shade I picked is Lured from ILNP's Trapped collection that came out recently. So I mentioned in my review that this shade reminds me of what a siren would wear as she enchants you and drags you into the deep sea or something scary like that. So I was honestly really going back and forth between choosing this one and Nocturnal from the same collection because the name alone is also very fitting for Scorpios. But this one just felt so fitting to me since Scorpios are water signs and their emotions run deep. So when I think of a body of water to represent Scorpio, I definitely think of the ocean and the deep sea specifically. I also thought a bonus to this shade was that it matched Topaz, the other November birthstone that I mentioned before. So I really like this pick. Here's a quick swatch of it in the sun, and I think it's just beautiful. But Ryan thinks it's beautiful too. He made that gesture as soon as he saw it. Definitely thought it was fitting for a water sign and very moody, and rated it an 8.5 out of 10. Next up, we have A Velvet Room by Candy Paints. This one features a rich black and red base that's packed with sparkling red shimmer. So this one is probably the most Scorpio polish to ever exist, at least in my collection. So since I never reviewed this one before, I'll quickly say that the formula was amazing and easily opaque in just 2 coats due to that black jelly base. And just a side note, I really love the packaging of this polish. But I chose this one to represent Scorpio's deep and intense passion. Scorpios have this reputation of being cold and uninviting, which they definitely can be, but once you get to know them, you can see how they come alive, especially when it comes to whatever they're passionate about. So I feel like this polish perfectly captures that with how it looks unassuming in most lighting, but once you get a glimpse of that shimmer, you're just totally captivated. I think this polish is absolutely stunning for Scorpios, and Ryan pretty much agrees. He thinks this one is super fancy and really loves the red shimmers in it because it gives it an elegant allure. So he rates this one a 9.5 out of 10. The next shade I picked is Illusionist from Mooncat, which at first glance has kind of similar vibes to the last polish, but I still had to include this one because the name made me think of Scorpios and how you can only see what they want you to see. So this one is also a magnetic polish, which to me really encapsulates so well how magnetizing Scorpios can be. As corny as that sounds, I know. But I love how fiery the shimmer is in this polish and how it contrasts to the vampy base color. So this polish is also really living up to its name because I feel like my eyes are playing tricks on me. Swatches that I've seen of this shade make it look more of a reddish kind of base, but I just see it as like super purple, so let me know what color you see it as. But either way, I definitely think this one is so enigmatic. So Ryan is actually a really big fan of purple, so he really likes this shade. And he loves how multi-layered it looked because of all the shimmers and glitters and sparkles in there, so he actually rated this one a 10 out of 10. And last but certainly not least, I had to include Mooncat's Emo For Life. I know it's kind of a meme, but you can't tell me there isn't some truth to this. Scorpios and water signs in general are very, very emotional, so it just makes sense, okay? You just gotta embrace it. So if you're a Scorpio who paints their nails black, I feel like you need this polish in your collection. Like, you're not allowed to have another black polish. But it's great either way since it is a one coater, so it really does work for everybody, even if you're not emo. So Ryan also really liked this shade. He said it was striking how opaque it is, and he also really likes it because it's aptly named and it reminds him of Rob Pattinson in The Batman. So for that reason, it is a 10 out of 10. Surprise! I actually have one more, but this one is an honorable mention since it's not available anymore. This was limited edition back from 2016, but I tend to wear this one most often during Scorpio season. This is called Secrets from the indie brand Illyrian. It's this captivating purple jelly base with a vibrant iridescent glitter mix and specks of magenta shimmer. I just love how those iridescent glitters hide in the deep base color, but they just glow in certain angles. I always felt that this polish was just so alluring and mysterious. It just like draws you in. Plus the name being Secrets, it just doesn't get more Scorpio than that, I think. So interestingly enough, Ryan said that this reminded him of bioluminescence, which I guess I can see, and he really likes the purple base again, so he would rate this a 9 out of 10. So that wraps up my favorite picks for Scorpio season. So hopefully you enjoyed listening to me and hearing some of Ryan's thoughts on these polishes. I really did try to get him to do a voiceover, but he was not interested, so totally fine. I respect that. But I think it was still fun either way. I had a really fun time doing this video. Even though, you know, this is a normal series to do my Zodiac favorites, again, Ryan is like King Scorpio, so I just felt like I had to include some of his input. So hopefully you enjoyed that little twist for this video, and hopefully you just enjoyed this video in general and some of my favorite picks. I thought it was pretty interesting at first how I was actually really drawn to a bunch of Mooncat shades and especially magnetics, so I had to narrow it down to 2 of each, and I still kind of feel like it was a lot, but it seems just, I don't know, fitting to have magnetic polishes for Scorpio season. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed my picks. Definitely let me know what your thoughts are, whether you're a Scorpio or not. And if you are a Scorpio and you're not into these picks, I'm sorry, but let me know what polishes you would love to wear. And that way I can just broaden my horizons, because I definitely can acknowledge I'm pretty basic and generic when it comes to the signs and what they like. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'm excited to see you in the next one. Bye.